Thanks to Liquorland for sponsoring this episode of Willow Talk. Score more this summer with Liquorland, and of course, choose to drink wise. Hello, welcome to Willow Talk. Great to have your company. Alyssa Healy alongside me, Adam Peacock and Brad Haddon. Wherever you are, enjoying that family drive for Christmas duties. Heels, how good was that?
Well, he's probably around Lake George right now, so hopefully you remember to fill up for petrol before you hit that point, because I've done that before, and it's a little bit of a scary process after that. But how good was that indeed? That was feels nice to be home after a whirlwind 5 days, but I mean, to come out 3-0, I mean, we're sitting pretty at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, and on reflection last night before we delve into it, I thought, yeah, if you said to an Australian cricket fan at the start of November, oh, by the way, Josh Hazlewood won't play any, Pat Cummins will miss 2, Steve Smith will miss 1, Nathan Lyon will play a big part in a game but then get injured and play no part in the ending of it, and we're going to be up 3-0, you're probably taking it, aren't you?
You'd take it. You'd probably take, being 1 down, 1 and 2 at that point in time, hoping we could fight back. But honestly, the Australians have been clinical in everything that they've done, and the English have been probably a little bit subpar, I'd say, in a lot of different areas. It probably cost themselves the series so far.
How are you going after 5 days of continuous talking? It's exhausting sometimes, isn't it?
It's a quiet household at the moment because everyone talks to anybody. Been playing the Nintendo 64. But no, it was good fun. Like, I genuinely just enjoy going to the cricket and watching the cricket, and some days it's hard to do that at the moment. So actually jumping in and working for Fox actually gives me the opportunity to watch the game. So I'm pretty lucky to have that, but it was an amazing test match to watch. I mean, it properly ebbed and flowed, which I think was really cool. And, even for England, I think, and the fans and the supporters to still think they had a sniff on day 5. And, we all at one stage, thought that maybe they could do it. So, yeah, it was a really cool test match to call. Yeah,
the test match got to the point, I'm sure it did around the country a lot. I was at a family barbecue and the TV didn't go off when the food came out. The TV very much stayed on because it got a bit willing there for a while. So on this episode, we'll spin through the key takeouts, and we obviously touched on a lot of them post-play each day at Adelaide, but get Heels' thoughts as well as the what happened in Adelaide, maybe MCG, and we've got a few messages. We asked the Secret Cricket Club, Heels, what surprised you about the Ashes so far? And there's a lot of, well, I didn't think England were that good and it hasn't surprised me type messages there. So, yeah, which I think is a bit harsh on reflection.
I think it'll be funny to see what comes out of that chat, because I reckon if you ask, I'm assuming 98% of them are Australian responses. So that'll be a fascinating insight.
Absolutely. Now, please remember to follow us on Apple, Spotify, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps us out a lot. Leave a review and comment. We'd love to hear your feedback. We are on 299 reviews on Apple, so why not be the 300th? Get to it quick. Heels, you can maybe do it if you want. Just say.
Yeah, maybe I should just jump in there. I mean, I get enough feedback on there, so I may as well just put one in myself.
A lot of love for you in the last couple of days, got to tell you as well. Now, we got one from Partner Hates Cricket Because I Love It. That's the name of that's some kind of handle. Love the podcast. I followed 10 and you guys are my favourite. Always looking forward to the next ep. Well, hopefully you're liking this ep. Partner that hates cricket because I love it. Yeah, anyway, thanks for everyone to getting involved with the Grey Nicks Fusion giveaway as well. We have a winner. Congrats to Thirsty.54 Jai Lee Drinkwater. It is all yours. Merry Christmas. And Jai Lee, I can pretty much see why you've gone with Thirsty as your handle as well with the last name of Drinkwater. So congratulations and enjoy that. Not a bad bat for backyard cricket, is it? Either a brand new kookaburra or a brand new Grey Nick, Heels?
Well, I mean, I remember Christmas Day unwrapping presents. I mean, my grandma gave me my first ever set of wicket-keeping gloves. I think it was a Christmas present before I started playing the game, and I'm sure many kids and adults out there will be unwrapping some sort of cricketing equipment for the Boxing Day backyard test match special. So not a bad option to have one of those fresh bad boys in your hand.
Best bat you got for Christmas?
Ooh. Actually don't know if I ever got a cricket bat for Christmas.
The gloves.
But the gloves were cool, but honestly, still the best bat I had, and it got used in backyard cricket, I think, until it officially died. And you know what? I think it's still going. I think it got passed down house to house. Was the Ricky Ponty Ridgeback that I started with. Had 13 different grips on it at one point. I'm pretty sure it by the end of it had just electrical tape. But it lasted the years, and 6 and out, I got out quite a lot of times.
Fair enough. Yeah, wow, what a surprise. You and or Hadden getting out 6 and out in backyard cricket. Couldn't picture it.
Over the leg side too. The fence was on the leg side, so it was my only shot, let's be honest. So flick over mid-wicket, out. I just went inside, got a lemonade. It was great.
Okay, Adelaide, how many times on day 5 did you think, oh, surely not?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I thought at no point did I think that they were going to get there. But then each and every probably 5 over block that kept rolling through, I thought, oh, you know what, they're giving themselves a chance. And I feel like I've seen it all at Adelaide. The wickets fall really quickly in clumps over the last few years that I've watched cricket there. So I just felt like if Australia could break through and get one, then I think that it'd all come together. But fair play to England. I think they finally got some stuff right. They started figuring things out on late day 4, early day 5, and unfortunately it was too late in the series. But yeah, there were a lot of flight changes happening all around the media centre after day 5 going a little bit longer than what everybody thought. But it just shows what you could do if you could apply yourself, have a really clear game plan out there as well. I thought Will Jacks was brilliant in that regard, in that he had a real clear game plan of let's keep the good balls out and then let's score off the ones that they give us. And Jamie Smith looked to counter-attack as well, which unfortunately was his undoing, but they showed the rest of the batting order how to do it for a long period of time. It's
an incredible concept you mentioned there, but anyway, we'll get to England in a moment. But about how Australia were going about it, there's only so much you can pick up off the TV. What were you seeing at the ground? Was there any sense of, we've got to try and manufacture something here, or the Australians have been so good for these 3 test matches at setting something up and executing that plan? Was it the latter or the former?
It was quite literally, let's remain patient. That's what it looked like. They still had the field up for a majority of, late day 4 and day 5. They had the field up in the right positions, catching, looking to take wickets. And I think that was the most important thing. And that's where they kind of held the ascendancy, in that they could push them back when necessary. If it got down to, something under 100 that they thought was starting to get a little bit stressful, they could actually put the field back. And they started doing that probably, when it looked like we couldn't get a wicket. And obviously when Nathan Lyon got injured, Travis Head was bowling, they just pushed the field right back and then kept the catches in play for the fast bowlers if they were to get an opportunity. So, there wasn't anything tactically brilliant about the way they went about it. They just stayed patient. They hung in there, and they knew that, the way that England play, that they were going to create opportunities. And then it takes a little bit of brilliance in the field to make that happen as well.
Any feedback from the sheds about how many times Marnus recreated that catch?
I mean, to do it once in that test match was unbelievable. Then to do it twice, I don't think the boys will be hearing the end of that anytime soon. I think when I reflect on, all the media and all the narrative heading into this Ashes series was all about Alex Carey, Johnny Bairstow, and I feel like leading into the next summer, it's going to be all recreating Marnus's catch in front of Alex Carey. I think that's what's going to be the plastered all around the television stations of the ad campaigns next year, will be that catch in front of Alex. But yeah, I didn't actually get to chat to him in the change rooms, but I don't think you could wipe the grin off his face at any point after the game. Yeah.
And just on that, and this blends a bit into England, because I was intrigued at some of the comments, I have been all series, about how they're trying to justify what's been happening in England. About Brendan McCullum said one about, we felt like we finally got a handle on things in the last 2 days of this, like days 10 and 11 of the Ashes, which is way too late. Obviously, it's gone now 3-0. Like, they can come back in the next 2 tests, but it's like, we've finally got a handle on the conditions. Whereas you look at something like that from Marnus and how good Australia have been in the field and how well they've been able to execute a plan with their bowling, due to the fact that you dare say they've got their prep pretty bang on, with a lot of these guys playing Shield cricket, used to the conditions, spoon-fed it from a very early age, so they don't have to worry about that so much. Whereas England just haven't got it. Like to the point where I think I mentioned to you that in Brisbane it looked like they couldn't see the ball in the pink ball test.
Yeah, and I think you put that down to experience a little bit, and you just mentioned we're in our home conditions. We're used to it. The guys that we've been missing, but are highly experienced, but the guys we're bringing in are also highly experienced at the domestic level, where they know what they're doing. They've played at all these grounds before, and they know, where to pitch the ball more than anything else to get the results that they're after. And I feel like that's where England missed a trick a little bit. They don't have a highly experienced bowling attack when you look at how many games they've played, but also how many times they've been to Australia and bowled in these conditions. And I think that's where you can use, if you're not going to train that way or play practice games or whatever it might be, and that's completely fine. I mean, we spoke about their preparation leading into the series, and I think at times we've justified that. That's okay. That's so long as they stick to that and stay true to that. But I think that's where you can use experience and knowledge around the group a little bit more. I mean, what's been noticeable about this tour is that England have really pushed away their past players, pushed away the guys that obviously they're the media and they work in the media and have, some varied opinions on what's going on in that current group, but they've tended to push these guys away a lot of the time. Whereas I feel like if you bring them closer, enable them the opportunity to speak to some of the players and interact with some of the players and talk about how you go about winning in Australia, I think that would have been really useful. And look, I'm making an outsider's comment. I don't know what happens in that change room. I don't know what sort of preparation they did in the 4 years, in the couple of years, I should say, leading into this series. They might have been doing that behind the scenes, but it just seems like everything I'm reading and seeing in the media is that they're not listening to anyone. They didn't take anything on board leading into this series, and I think it got big on them really, really quickly. And I think that's where the Aussie group in particular are really good at embracing that, embracing the history, embracing, the past players and taking all that feedback on board, using it, yes or no, no one will really know, but they actually use that experience and knowledge around Australian cricket to make themselves better, which is, I think, a real difference. Yeah.
The few things I don't get, and that's one of them. That can be added to the list. But, you see, I've followed the tennis before, and you see a player go from the clay to grass, but they'll get high-quality practice matches in. They'll go and play a tournament maybe on grass when they transition from surface to surface. And cricket's a bit similar because it is a conditions-based sport. And sitting there with Mark Taylor, who's commentating for Triple M, and Ollie Pope came in, and second ball, he just pushed it one straight away. And he said, they've been doing this all tour, that they in Australia, you're taught, and you'd know this backwards, you're taught to wait. Just let the ball come to you and use the bounce as a friend if you can, whereas they were just looking to always, and it's almost like they knew what the problem was. They didn't know how to fix it. Is that an unfair statement?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. And the chats that sort of we had, we were both in and around the media centre, and there was a lot of opinions floating around there from a lot of people who've played different levels of cricket, different experiences, right around the world. And I think the one thing that's probably let them down more than anything else is technique. And you look at, I find that fascinating because I feel like you've got to have a really tight technique in the UK because the ball does more for longer. The wickets might be flatter, and I know that they've replicated flat wickets for the last few seasons to enable Bazball to take over and play this really attacking style of cricket. But the Dukes ball tend to do a little bit more. So in my mind, I feel like, especially when you're coming through the ranks, you've got to have a tight technique to be able to play that ball for long periods when it's doing more off the wicket. So it's fascinating to me that they're not tighter in that regard because they're being found out over here in wickets. The wicket's flat. The wicket looked beautiful for batting. You saw the tail end of both teams being able to just hit through the line of the ball when it's on offer. But all of a sudden, their techniques are failing on them when the ball does just the slightest thing off the wicket or it gets a little bit more bounce than what they're expecting. They're nicking at balls that, you could be leaving all day long or playing them under your eyes and getting a single through cover. So, yeah, ultimately that's failed them and they'll have to, probably look at that in the 3 days before the next test match. And that's the hard part about an Ashes series is a lot of the tests are back to back and you've got to work really quickly on your game to be able to fix it for the next one. Or go to Noosa and drink for 5 days. I mean, it's up to whichever way you go about it.
Exactly. Yeah, and you couple all of that with the underestimation in a general sense, and you're never really sure how much this gets in. Like England have that mentality that we've mentioned it before. It's the Baz bubble. Like they might have locked themselves away from all of this about the chat, that there was strangely an underestimation of how good this Australian bowling lineup in particular is. And I know you're heavily biased towards one of them, but you've watched the others over a very long period of time. And even the others, the next man up, like a Scott Boland comes in. And these are guys who can execute plans and be patient on Australian pitches with the Kookaburra ball as good as anyone. It's not like they're 22-year-olds kind of feeling their way in test matches like a Brendan Doggett, Michael Nisa. They're so experienced. So that for me was baffling, how they came to that adjudication that, well, they're not going to serve up much because they're at the tail end of their career. That actually helps, surely, when you're playing a big match like this or big matches like this.
Oh, 100%. And probably the knowledge of knowing what to do when they do come at us is probably where that experience comes in handy, in that, I think they had this real intent to take down a couple of the Australian bowlers and see what else you've got, but they haven't been able to do that for long enough periods to sort of get any leeway into this Australian attack, because, you take, one of the best bowlers in the world off and you replace them with somebody who's just as good and has got a mountain of wickets to back that up. So, it's just seemed like they haven't had a plan B. It seems like we've got lots of plans in place as to what might happen, what might unfold. If they do come hard, this is what we can do. We can drag our length back. Alex Carey can come up to the stumps, and all of a sudden that's just denied Bazball, which to me is the most bizarre thing in the world, that we found an answer for it, and it's literally in having a really good wicketkeeper. So, probably just their willingness not to adjust and adapt for long enough in the game has really cost them.
Because you look at the teams that have had success here, and I'll look at India in particular. They've gone about it, and sure, they've had a guy like Jasprit Bumrah, that helps, but they didn't quite work out from last tour. But the two before it, like their batting lineup had the ability to be patient and had the ability to play the conditions as well as possible. And this is coming from, Indian playing surfaces where you think, they might struggle with the bounce. No, they actually played it beautifully. So it's not like it can't be done. It's not that hard to work it out. It's
grinding them down, and this is going to sound bad because I'm an Australian, but it's quite literally trying to break the Australian bowling attack. That's how that's how you've got to go about it, and that's being patient for long periods against really good bowling. And I'm saying that like it's a really easy thing to do, like you're hitting around the tennis ball in the backyard. It's not. They bowl probing lengths, probing lines, and if that's not working, they'll come short at you. They'll test you with that as well, and then they'll go back to remaining patient and trying to bore you out of the game as well. So they've got the ability to do all of that, which makes it a real challenge. But if you're asking these guys to come back for third, fourth, fifth spells, that goes a long way into breaking what they can do. And you make them tired, you make them stressed, you make them have to think under pressure. But at the moment, they're not really having to do that. Yes, they're coming back for second and third spell, but they've got a new ball in their hand, or they've got an opportunity to bowl at the tail. So that's I think that, and I don't know the secret of success here in Australia, but I know that making the bowlers, or putting the bowlers under pressure in terms of making them come back day after day to have to bowl is one way to go about it. It's not just trying to slog them out of the attack.
Oh, well, winners have celebrations and reunions, and losers have reviews. So there might be a review coming in English cricket. We never know, but we know there was a celebration in the last 24 hours. Unsurprising to wake up on this Monday morning and see Travis Head posting at all hours. So they look to enjoy themselves, especially Trav. He was at the forefront. He was the social coordinator of last night, I'm led to believe.
I don't know too much about what unfolded last night, but I do know that he was front and center of it all. I think the most impressive thing when walking through the change room was how excited he was to rip those shirts out and hand them around the group about Ronball. There's lots of photos of that floating around, which he just could not wait to win the Ashes so that they could put those shirts on. So that was kind of cool, and that's how much they love their coach, and they trust their coach and what he's sort of given to this group. And but Yeah, look, I think that the celebrations were justified, but in saying that, there's only a couple of days before the Boxing Day test, and I know there's a real desire within that group to win 5-0. They wouldn't want to let England back in the series at any point in time. And what happens with our bowling attack moving forward, I'm not too sure. Pat's basically said in the presser that Melbourne's pretty unlikely. So whether that happens or not, Nathan Lyon's not looking great either. Anytime you grab your hamstring, that's at least a couple of weeks. So that might put him out of the series. We'll have to wait and see confirmation on that. But we're going to have another change in our bowling attack. And if if England aren't sniffing blood now, I don't know when you're ever going to do that. They may have lost the urn, but an opportunity to go 3-2 in the series and make it look somewhat competitive is really realistically just up to them right about now.
Yeah, some of the names thrown up. So for Nathan, Bo Webster, do you get him to bowl the offies? Corey Roccacioli, I saw his name thrown about. There's Todd Murphy, of course, Matt Kuhneman. It looks like Murphy and Kuhneman are more, or the word is that they're more suited to subcontinental conditions, but obviously very good bowlers in their own right. And for Pat, Jai Richardson's been around the squad for a bit. Michael Neser was bowling a lot in the nets over there in Adelaide. So, yeah, options, plenty of options.
Plenty of options and plenty of opportunity to see someone else. What else we've got around the country? We've obviously got the Ashes, and like I said, they want to win 5-0, but what a great opportunity to see whether it is the next generation or, the next rung down and see what they can do at this test level. Personally, like if you want an opinion, someone like Todd Murphy would be great. We obviously love going in with the spinner. He's bowled a lot at the MCG. That wicket traditionally, the last few years in particular, has nipped about a bit. So the spinner hasn't played a huge role, but it can also play a role at, rotating the quicks from one end and giving them the best opportunity. Or for just Scotty Boland to rip through opposition sides. So I guess if you're going for experience in that regard, someone like Todd Murphy is probably at the top of the tree there. But yeah, I'm not sure which way they're going to go, but it'll be interesting to see, and obviously a really cool opportunity for a couple of different players.
Yeah, I'd say Victorians would be saying Todd Murphy, Fergus O'Neill, they're the two to come in, which, hey, if it happened, it happened. It'd make for
They'd probably also say Peter Siddle right about now. The 41-year-old's bowling pretty quick, so Peter Siddle will come back for the Boxing Day. I'm sure the Victorians would love that.
Absolutely. Hey, just on the Ronball shirts, I did notice that there was attention to detail with that shirt too, because there is word that Andrew McDonald has the biggest cranium in Australian cricket, and on that caricature, the head inside the helmet, that was large. So it was to scale. It was very well done, very well planned.
Spot on. To scale was probably the best way to sum it up, but yeah, big bonds that one.
Exactly. Hey, quick drinks break. A few things about the English. Hey, look at that. We've got a tweet from Piers Morgan to read out, and also the Secret Cricket Club questions in a second. Mates coming over to watch the cricket and you forgot the drinks? Liquorland will bring the drinks with free express delivery on orders over $99, and it will be there in under 60 minutes. Whether it's a backyard barbie, a picnic in the park, or just everyone round at yours to watch the cricket, Liquorland's got you covered this summer. Liquorland, official gold partner of Cricket Australia. 18s plus only, T's and C's apply. Express delivery not available in South Australia or the Northern Territory. Delivery fees may apply. Choose to drink wise. Yeah, so the fallout will continue, and it'll be, strident in UK circles. Piers Morgan, who said that, we've got a better team, a better captain, better management. The Ernest coming home, I genuinely think, will beat England either 4 or 5-0. That was on November 21, and less than 24 hours ago. On reflection, this prediction may have been a tad optimistic. Congrats, Australia, you've hammered us, and did it by batting, bowling, fielding, and competing better than we did. No point in being a whinging pom about it. We've been totally outplayed in every way. Fair dinkum, clap, clap. Yeah, that's about as nice as it gets from the fallout, because they'll be headhunting over there. They will be absolutely looking for someone to blame and someone to pin this on. I'm
not on Twitter/X, whatever it is anymore, but I think from memory that is the most sensible thing that he has ever tweeted, that's made the most sense or has been the most correct, maybe, is probably the way that I'll throw that in there. But fair play to him for backtracking. I mean, at no point was he was saying we're going to win 3-2, and then he was really backing them in. But good on him for finally acknowledging everything he said in the first one was just completely wrong.
Secret Cricket Club, thank you for these questions. The question was to you out there in the Secret Cricket Club. Access the Secret Cricket Club via our Instagram page. What has surprised you this Ashes? And Alex came back with how good the best English team in 15 years is. Just imagine how good the worst one would be. Jesus. Oosh. Okay, Jack said, as an Englishman, I'm surprised by the lack of quality on show from the English team. Apart from the odd session, it's been mediocre at best. That must be the frustrating thing from an England fan, is because the first two tests in particular, they had their moments, but it just, as quickly as they came, those moments, they went away and got worse. It's not like they kind of leveled out. It just fell off a cliff after a good moment for them.
Yeah, 100%. And that's probably what surprised me a bit as well, is just what they thought would work in Australia has probably surprised me the most. I mean, their bowling attack has been interesting. The selections they've made have been really interesting. And I understand the first test, like, let's just go all guns blazing and let's try and blow them out of the park. Cool. You can do that at Optus Stadium where the wicket's bouncier than anywhere else in the country. But then they continued to make selections that didn't make sense on wickets that are going to get flat, going to get easier to bat on. You're going to need people to remain patient, put the ball in the right area, and they've just gone so far away from that, it's not funny. So that surprised me, and I'm assuming that's what a lot of people are surprised about as well in the Secret Cricket Club.
Yep, PRP said, nothing has surprised me. This went exactly how I thought it would. English hype themselves out, don't prepare or apply themselves, and we smack them. He's pretty much written the story of the series so far there, all PRP. Rhino said, England's tail batting better than their top order. Well, Rhino points me towards something here. What do they do with Will Jacks? Because does Bashir play, but is that at the expense of a guy who's applied himself really well with the bat in the last two test matches?
Will Jacks is not going anywhere. It's just probably a matter of where he bats. I mean, there's already talk of Ollie Pope's spot in the side under jeopardy, but this is where I don't get it as well, in that they took the vice captaincy off him a while back, and I thought that was a real red flag in that Jacob Bethel was going to come in at number 3. Then they spoke about Jacob Bethel a lot. Somewhere along the line, didn't pull the trigger. Ollie Pope remained at 3. He must have made some runs along the way, has remained there. And now they're talking about making that change. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, why now? You've lost the Ashes. Like, why now? If you're going to do it before the series and take that punt then. And so there's already talk of whether or not Will Jacks does come up the order. That's a little bit higher. There was talk of Ollie Pope potentially taking the gloves, replacing Jamie Smith, but then Jamie Smith, played that fighting knock on day 5 and gave him a sniff. So is that enough to keep him in the side? He's been quite underwhelming at times, but in saying that, he's doing his job to an extent with the gloves on behind. So there's that. But I think in my mind, Will Jacks has to stay. He's the only person that's tried his guts out, I reckon, most of the time. He was getting whacked with ball in hand, but never did he stop. Never did he try and, hand the ball off to somebody else. He toiled away at that one end trying to get a wicket for his side, and I thought that was kind of really cool to watch. He was toiling away. He wasn't quite executing. You could see it. He was frustrated with himself. He was dropping short a little bit. The Aussies were punishing him at times, but he never ever gave up, and I think we saw that with bat in hand as well. He's got to stay. He's actually got some fighting spirit in him, but what they do with the rest of it, they've only really got Jacob Bethel as a batter to come into the side. So if they're going to make a batting change, he slots in, and who do you leave out?
Exactly. Those questions to be answered on the morning of Boxing Day after we've had our Christmas feast. A couple more. Sean said, surprised how we've treated Webster and the lack of fight from England. Webster might play a test match in the next 2, never know. Amal said the failure of Duckett, very surprising. Yeah, I guess so, but he won't.
Not surprising.
He won't leave the ball.
Yeah, you gotta leave the ball in Australia. That's like basically when you come to Australia. Number one, I did play in Test cricket. Number one, leave the ball alone. It nibbles a little bit early and then it gets really nice for batting. So if you're an opening batter and you can leave the ball, you're going to give yourself a chance.
Yep. I saw something on socials that said Ben Duckett needs to go away and watch Cinderella and learn how to leave the ball. Anyway, Astar said, How about the English fielding has been? Catches win matches. Again, it's down to the prep. I feel if you've got more match hardened work in Australia conditions, the ball bounces a bit different. Maybe it's different. And then last one here, Davison asks, how Healy is losing the Steely Cup. Good year for Mitch. 50 wickets in the calendar year for Mitch. Well done.
Yeah, he's had a great year. He'll love 2025, won't he, when he gets given the Steely Cup as well. He's put the clubs away for the year, so we don't even get a crack at it. It's actually quite close. Apparently, there might have been one fixture in it. Might have needed to get 2 in and win those. But how he's winning the Steely Cup is Healy had a shocking year. Stark had a great year. Handicaps were rather far apart for majority of the year, but actually quite close together again now. So bring on 2026.
Okay. Yeah, you got to get on top of that.
I'm conceded, but if they roll England, fingers crossed that they get this test match in Melbourne done in a couple of days, because then we might be able to get 2 days of golf in before the new year, and maybe I could snatch it off him, but I doubt it.
What will it require on the golf course for you to actually overturn what is a margin here?
Some application, some patience.
Yeah.
And some experience, which, this is what Australia have brought to this Ashes series, and I need to take a little bit of dose of that back into my golf and stop just going for the birdies. Yeah.
No, it's the cricket side of things has actually got nothing to do with Mitch wanting to beat England. It's wanting to win the household bragging rights. So, yeah. There you go.
That's all right. I've already conceded defeat, but if those two opportunities do arise, look out. I'm the most competitive person on the planet, so it's game on.
I've noticed. Heels, thank you. Merry Christmas. Hope you have a great time, and see you down in Melbourne for some more cricket. Can't wait to possibly make it 4-0 for Australia.
How good. And Merry Christmas, Adam, and Merry Christmas to everybody that watches, listens to Willow Talk. I hope you have a lovely day.
Well said. Heels, thanks everyone. We'll be back later in the week. I think we're catching up with Travis Head, if we can find him. Yeah, thanks for watching the Willow Talk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.